Good evening. Welcome again to Varsity Sports Live. Tom Neiman along with Jason and Dara. Jody Norstedt standing by in West Fargo with a couple of big school semifinal games in North Dakota tonight, and we'll get to him in a minute. Where were you tonight?
I was in the south. I headed south to go watch T play Canton for the second time this year, and it lived up to the billing. 11A has just been so much fun to cover this year. Anything could happen, and of all the classes tonight, I think that was the most drama of any class.
Canton T was really good.
And the West Central LYNX
West
game.
Central LYNX was really good. O'Gorman-Roosevelt was really good.
That was
Our
really
live
good.
game tonight. And let's get to the South Dakota scoreboard. In the semifinals, O'Gorman came from behind to beat Sioux Falls-Roosevelt 24-21. Highlights coming up.
Did it with
in a little
defense.
bit. They played some defense, a late interception. Connor Pavelko was great, and OG just found a way to get by the Rough Riders for the second time this year. Sioux Falls-Roosevelt, only 2 losses on the year, both to O'Gorman and OG, moving into the championship to take on Brandon Valley, the LYNX. And Thomas Skolton had a game tonight, 52-13 over Washington in that rematch of last year's championship game. So that is the big school matchup with OG and Brandon Valley. In 11A, the Governors Pierre, undefeated, keeps rolling, 57-7 over Mitchell tonight in the semis. And Brookings at home beats up on Huron 36-7. So the Bobcats will play on their home field in Brookings against Pierre.
Yeah, not much surprise on either side. Those have clearly been the two best teams in 11AA this year.
11A, as we said, Lennox and West Central. Lennox had the lead. West Central came back in this game, and from what I understand, we'll take a look later, but they missed the extra point after they scored to almost tie it up.
Right, that could have put it in overtime.
And Lennox hangs on. Lennox, it's been a while since the Orioles have been in the championship game. We'll check that later on, but they will take on Canton. Canton over T-Area tonight, 27-10, Jamie.
There was a Caden Verley show that we'll show you here in a little bit. Wow, defensive touchdown, receiving touchdown, a couple of rushing touchdowns.
All right, Seahawks moving into the championship. In 11B, Bridgewater-Emery Ethan has been great all year, and they shut out McCook Central Montrose tonight 42-0. Highlights of that one coming up. And winner, both these teams are going to be undefeated going into the championship game. Winner over Webster tonight 38-27.
Yeah, winner beat one undefeated team, and they're going to have to go up against another one in the championship game. A great fight by Webster tonight. We'll look at those highlights in a little bit.
Should be a great matchup in the 11B championship. In 9-man, Viborg-Hurley stays undefeated. Cougars, a tight one tonight over Lemmon McIntosh, 32-26. Highlights coming there, and Bon Homme at home tonight over Deuel, 26-6.
Not many people know about Lemmon McIntosh, but they have really peaked. And great game for them to just be in it against Viborg-Hurley.
All right, those are the 9AA semis. In 9A, Britton-Hecla. This game was tied at 8 at halftime. The Braves score in the fourth quarter to pull it out, and they are moving back into the championship game in 9A, and they will take on Canistota Freeman, who went to Sully Buttes tonight in Oneida and pounded the Chargers.
Yeah, I'll tell you about Canistota Freeman, Sully Buttes, Britton-Hecla, Gregory, just great teams in 9A this year. And it made for a really fun Final Four. Britton-Hecla overcame some injuries within the game, and of course, the Trevor Zelke injury a couple weeks ago. It's just been a real battle this year for the Braves to get to the championship game.
And in 9B, it's going to be Colman-Egan and Herreid Selby. Colman-Egan, top seed, they get by Wolsey-Wessington tonight, 46-36. But Herreid Selby goes out to Harding County. Herreid Selby has won 3 road games in the playoffs.
They're the Road Warriors, and thank you, by the way, for sending me some gear, and I can be bought. Anybody who wants to send me a shirt, please do so. But I'll tell you what, the Wolverines are my first love. Good job, Herreid Selby.
Highlights coming up. Christian Begeman, our guy, was all the way out in Harding County tonight, and highlights of that game coming up in a bit. In North Dakota, Bismarck Century stays undefeated. Patriots over Mandan tonight in the state semis, 27-21, and they will take on West Fargo Sheyenne. Mustangs win that battle in West Fargo tonight, 27-0.
Yeah, how about that? West Fargo's really fought so hard this year. For them to make it to the semifinals was huge, but such a great rivalry that's really starting there in West Fargo, and we'll see how that all played out in a little bit here.
All right, let's get up to those highlights of those 2 games in North Dakota tonight. Jody Norstedt is standing by. Good evening, Jody.
Hey, good evening, fellas. In Fargo North, I mean, they didn't get into the postseason, but they got their logo on it. we had their logo instead of Mandan, so apologize for that.
I saw that.
Yeah, boy, what a crazy slate of games last week, leading into this week where we had 2 3A teams that have never been to the Dakota Bowl, and then 2 teams with a lot of tradition. I mean, Bismarck Century looking for a 4th trip in 5 years. West Fargo just won the state title 2 years ago, going against the new kids on the block against Sheyenne. Let's take a look at the highlights. Mandan versus Century was the other game, and then we have West Fargo versus Sheyenne. Would history be made in West Fargo? Cheyenne playing in his 3rd ever semifinal, but still seeking their first Dakota Bowl appearance. West Fargo trying to get back to the Dakota Bowl after, as I mentioned, winning it a couple of years ago. First turnover of the game goes to the visitors. Grant-Workington loses the ball. Houston Vista recovers for West Fargo. Packers trying to convert. Jay Gibson trying to draw something up, but Tony Hoang has the breakup on 4th down against Marcus Gully. Turnover on downs. From there, Cheyenne puts together a drive, and Colby Angeles puts the cap on it. Good block from Zach Rogers. 6-0 Mustangs after the opening quarter. This game featured a ton of big hits. Gully was responsible for a lot of them. Watch number 2 lay the hammer on Britton-Hecla. Cheyenne ends up driving the length of the field, though Rogers, the fullback, rams it in from a yard out. That's a 98-yard drive. Home team up 14-0 with a minute 18 left in the half, and they weren't finished in the first half. Packers trying to cut into the lead, but instead things get worse. Matt Wagner with a pick 6, 54 yards to the end zone, and watch this. He's going to get taken out by his teammates. Look at the energy here for the guys in blue. How about that? Cheyenne goes into the locker room up 20-0 at the break. After exchanging possessions to start the second half, Cheyenne opens it up a bit. Sophomore gunslinger Grant-Workington to Bison commit Tyler Terhart, 29-yard score. It's 27-zip. Packers get a spark from their special teams here. Carson Hegerly on the punt return, scoots to the sideline, turns on the Jets, weaving his way through some blue jerseys for the long return. But the turnover bug that stung West Fargo early in the season came back with a vengeance tonight. Mertz is intercepted for a 3rd time. Terhart adds another to his total. This one puts the game on ice as the final seconds run off the clock. The Mustangs can celebrate. They are heading to the Dakota Bowl for the first time in program history with an emphatic 27-0 win. Britton-Hecla with another 100-yard rushing game is the Cheyenne Mustangs. How about that? Going to the Dakota Bowl for the first time in school history. We caught up with a number of players after the big win.
Feels amazing. You know, working in the summer, all the way back then, it's crazy to, our work is finally paying off. It's awesome. Oh, I love my brothers, man.
Feels ecstatic. I'm ecstatic right now, happy. We worked too dang hard not to make the Dakota Bowl, so we just have a great group of guys who are willing to work every single day to put the work in to get to this moment.
Yeah, it's something that you can't, I don't know, you can't describe it. The boys played their butts off tonight, and I don't even think they know what they did yet. But, you know, it's hopefully it'll hit us this week so we can get ready to play a football game.
Honestly, it's like unreal feeling. This is the first time that this school's been going, and I guess we just kind of felt like, I don't know, we just came hard to practice every day, and we just really wanted to make this one, and we're just excited to go, and we're just overwhelmed right now. Honestly, in the back of my head, I heard my coach, Coach Compton, I just heard him say that if you're ever in the open field, just try and house it.
Just try and house it, baby. Mandan has only beaten Century once in the last 13 years. Why not twice here? The Braves trying to make their first Dakota Bowl. Century, boy, it's old hat for them. Cade Feeney, Dane Carlson, great QB showdown, but special teams playing a factor early. Blocked punt by Century, Grant Anderson recovers, and Cade Feeney will capitalize on that all day. Touchdown run added to his total. The Century quarterback has been phenomenal this season. 7-0 Patriots. Then it's Cade Garcia, the running back that's been so good. On 4th down, he gets into the end zone. Century up 13-0. Century's defense, pretty darn good too early on in this one. Andrew Walter and Terrell Smith combined on the sack of Carlson. And then it's Cade Feeney going back to the air, this time connecting with Grant Anderson. Had the big special teams play. How about this play through the air? Long hair, don't care. And that leads to another Feeney touchdown, 20-0 at half. And then Feeney, how about another rushing touchdown in the third? His third rushing touchdown makes it 27-0. It's over, right? Todd Sheldon, Mandan, just mail it in. Not on this day. Dane Carlson lining up to Who else? Elijah Klein, 6'7" UND commit. How about that catch in traffic? And if you first succeed, well, if at first you succeed, then you just keep going and doing it. Klein, another touchdown, 27-14. Oh boy, this guy's gonna be good. UND gets a good one, and Klein trying to get this team back into it. Viborg-Hurley here with a long run. Mandan making things interesting. With 2:06 remaining now, they're going to go to the air again. Is Carlson going to go back to Klein? I'm sure that's what everyone is thinking on the Century defense, but instead he goes to Jace Lemmon. And that's a touchdown, makes it 27-21, so it's a touchdown game, but they can't get the onside kick. Century does recover. Now a 3rd and 9 for the Patriots. Who else would you want to have the ball in their hands? Cade Feeney, 3rd and 9, and he turns it into a 1st down, and that sends the Patriots back to the Dakota Bowl for a 4th time in 5 years. Ron Wingenbach fired up as his quarterback does it again. Perhaps the player of the year in Class 3A. I would count on it. 100 yards plus passing, 100 plus yards rushing for Feeney to go with those 3 rushing touchdowns. Kay Garcia, a big game, and the Patriots are going to the Dakota Bowl.
It feels amazing. We've worked hard this whole season, and it was grimy towards the end, but we stuck it out. Our defense held up, and our offense showed it, and we worked hard for it.
You know, down 27-0 to hit some big plays on the 4th quarter. It's not like we didn't know that they were trying to do that. They just executed very well. You know, I thought, the first 3 quarters our team played very well, and we did things offensively. You know what, I'd said before the game started it might come down to special teams, and I think field position was critical for us. Tell you what, when you get to the dome, it's a one and done. So we're pleased to be going there, and we know we're going to face a common opponent. We've played them now several times the last couple of years, so we'll have our work cut out for us. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Coach Wingenbach alluding to it. They played twice last year, once in the semifinals, once in the season opener, both fantastic games. The season opener was a 21-14 Century win, and then in the postseason, a 31-20 Patriots victory before, of course, they lost to Bismarck in the state championship. So we get Century and Sheyenne for the state title next week at the Dakota Bowl. Well, switching gears to a preview of one of the big semifinal matchups tomorrow in Class A, the Lisbon Broncos finished the 2018 season with just 3 wins, a 3-5 record overall. But after installing a new offense in last year's season and returning all but 2 of their players from last season, the Broncos have emerged as one of the best teams on the ground and one of the best teams in the state with a 10-0 record.
Where did they come from? That's what a lot of people are asking themselves as Lisbon prepares for its first semifinal game in over a decade. But the Broncos themselves aren't as surprised.
This year we knew we could do something, and we had a lot of the same players from last year, and we knew we were underlooked, and we knew we could get some people off guard.
Mainly we just kind of wanted to change everything. I mean, the past couple of years haven't been too much fun, and kind of just wanted to change that a little bit.
A lot of these kids have played for 3 or 4 years all together, all playing varsity. We put a lot of kids in when they were freshmen and sophomores, and that experience has been huge for them this year.
Experience might be the foundation for the Broncos' confidence, but knocking off some of the titans in the division is what really helped them realize their full potential.
The Oaks game really is where it took off, and kind of we realized that, hey, we can do this.
Against Oaks, it was a big test, and when we beat them, we knew we can hang with anybody, and now we're here, so.
Jordan Sowers shined in that win over then second-ranked Oaks, nabbing our weekly game ball honor by rushing for 231 yards and 4 touchdowns. And that run-it-down-your-throat mentality has been the key to Lisbon's rise up the rankings.
I mean, we have 4 seniors on the offensive line. I mean, we're all over 230 pounds. I mean, we're pretty big up front, so we're all 3-year starters too, so we've been around for a while.
Right now with spread football being the popular thing all over the place, and the kids watch college, NFL, they see it, and this group, that they don't even complain. They're fine running the ball. They've been wanting to set records all year once, they started seeing the success we were having, and, the kids up front, just want to play physical. And they just want to start pounding teams and wearing teams down, and that's what they've done all season.
But on Saturday, the competition will reach another level as the Broncos take on defending state champ Langdon Edmore Munich. a team that's won a state-best 23 consecutive games, a streak that coincidentally started week 1 last year against Lisbon.
They're a really good team, and we didn't really show up and play to our full potential, and we know that. We watched our game from last year and kind of giggled it off because we didn't play to our full potential at all, and we're looking for revenge.
You know, some of the things we did well last year, we ran the ball, but that was our first year running this offense, so we weren't real sharp with it. We made a lot of mistakes, and I think the kids have probably mentioned we watched the game yesterday and we're kind of giggling and laughing about it, and I mean we saw we did not play near as well as we were playing right now, and you know we're hoping to go up there and play a contrasting style of football to what they do.
With both teams averaging over 42 points per game, Lisbon knows defense may be hard to come by.
The main goal is, of course, to stop the Romfos, and I mean their wide receivers are pretty darn good, but I mean our offense, hopefully we can keep up with them too. So
you know, I think both teams are going to score, but defensive-wise, we know that we are going to have to eliminate the big play. We want to force them to try to put together a drive. They're a very quick score team, and we want to force them to try to drive the length of the field, put together 8-9 play drives. And also offensively, we know that we want to control the pace of the game and control the ball and not let them have it.
1, 2, 3, D.
Easy to say, but hard to do. It'll be interesting to see what happens up at Langdon tomorrow afternoon. We'll have a complete preview of Saturday's slate of games coming up, guys, in zone coverage. But for now, back to you. We have one Dakota Bowl matchup set, and that is the Century Patriots undefeated against the Sheyenne Mustangs, who lost one game to Shanley, but have been absolutely sizzling and had a big 27-0 win tonight.
Yeah, that big school final is going to be really good, isn't it? I mean, that is a great matchup.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Sheyenne defends Century quarterback Cade Feeney, who is absolutely just, I mean, he's a defensive coordinator's nightmare. But we'll see if Sheyenne can have the recipe to pull this thing off.
All right, and then all the other semifinals tomorrow, and then all the championship games a week from today, correct?
Yeah, a week from today. We'll be at the Fargo Dome from 9 in the morning till about 10 o'clock at night.
All right, perfect. We'll see you in a little bit. Thanks, Jode.
See ya.
Love the way they do that.
All right, Jandy, we're going to get to a lot of South Dakota highlights here in a moment. Great game at Howard Woodfield. Good game in Canton tonight with Canton moving on to the championship. So South Dakota highlights when we come back on Varsity Sports Live.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Avera Orthopedics, South Dakota State University, and Farmers Union Insurance.
Welcome back to the second to the last Varsity Sports Live of the season, Jason.
You know what? It's been a great season, and semifinal night is one of the best nights for Varsity Sports Live especially. So looking forward to this.
All right, everybody in action, 7 classes. Let's get to the semifinals. In 11 AAA tonight, we had O'Gorman and O'Gorman and Roosevelt. We're going to start with that one. And this was a matchup that happened in the third game of the regular season when O'Gorman beat Roosevelt 27-20. And
this is kind of how they started the first time around. They big plays.
This is the second play of the game. Tegan Schlimgen to Zach Norton. It goes 75 yards. And O'Gorman is up front 7-0. And then they pooch kick it. They recover it, and they get a field goal there. So it's 10-0 2 minutes into the game. But Brady Dannenbring goes to Michael Paulson to make it 10-7 at halftime. Paulson had a huge game. This
is my first time seeing these highlights. That's crazy. Block punt.
They did have a block punt. Again, it was 10-7 at halftime. And then what do we got going on here? We got an interception by Caden Hackman. That led to a Pavelko field goal, made it 13-7. Riders take the lead here midway through the third quarter. Dannenbring to Paulson to make it 14-13. And then early in the fourth, they go halfback pass with Feldkamp to Paulson. Paulson had 9 catches for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So it's 21-13. But O'Gorman got a Pavelko field goal to make it 21-16. They get a third down conversion here going to Sam Stukel down to the 15. This is with just over a minute to go. Tate Wisher goes in O'Gorman takes the lead. They get the 2-point conversion. It's 24-21, and then Connor Pavelko with an interception with under a minute to go to keep the Riders from making the comeback after O'Gorman came back, and OG wins it 24-21.
What we didn't see there is Connor Pavelko was kicking field goals left and right in this game.
He made 3 of them, 43 yards, 9 yards, and then a 47-yarder by Pavelko in that fourth quarter comeback. He was fabulous. Norton had that 75-yard reception early. Tegan Schlimgen, you see the numbers there, 250 yards passing and a touchdown. Riders end the season 9-2, both of those losses to OG. And let's hear from the Knights after their big win.
It's huge. I mean, for O'Gorman, the size of school we are, I mean, we're the same size as, Spearfish and Sturgis. For our kids to work this hard to compete, in the Sioux Falls schools with 2,000 kids plus in their high schools, and, we're under 700 kids. I mean, that's just something special for our guys, and that's why we petition up to have opportunities like this. And, like I said, I'm just proud of how our kids played and our coaches prepared for this, and, it's going to be a special week for us.
All right, Knights moving on. They're 9-2 on the year now. 2015, I think, was the last time OG was in a championship game, but they go back this year.
They had Roosevelt's number this year. The only 2 losses for Roosevelt on an otherwise spotless season came to the Knights. And now, let's see who the Knights play.
All right, OG moving on to take on the winner of Brandon Valley and Sioux Falls, Washington. Washington kind of a surprise in the semifinals, coming in at 4-6. Brandon Valley converts 2 times on 4th down on this drive. Tate Johnson goes in for the touchdown, and the LYNX were rolling. And then an interception here off the tip by Mark Mitchell-Canals. We've said his name a couple of times this year on interceptions for the LYNX. Thomas Skolton was really good on the evening, rolling and throwing back to Peyton Carroll. And BV in the lead 14-0, and they would keep rolling from there. Same connection a little bit later. Skolton, little play action this time. There's Carroll again, 21-0. And Brandon Valley, the defending champions in 11 AAA, 52-13 tonight over Washington, Jason.
And you know what, Thomas Skolton, he doesn't put up the huge passing yard numbers, but 4 touchdowns, 12 of 17, no interceptions. This is what he's done all season long. And Jackson Hilton came up big, and Tate Johnson does what he does and just hammers people home. 145 yards rushing.
That is a really good trio right there, isn't it? Skolton and Hilton and Tate Johnson.
That's real good.
And Brandon Valley again, they get to 9-2 on the season, and they are going back to not the Dome, but to Brookings this year for the championship games. And Brandon Valley and Sioux Falls O'Gorman will be the last game on Friday night, coming up next week on championship weekend.
Yeah, we don't have highlights of the Pierre game, but they started out a little bit slow in this one. They only had 14 points through the first quarter against Mitchell and then found their gear.
Pierre beat Mitchell tonight 57-7, so the Governors undefeated on the year. There's the final there. Garrett Stout, numbers all over the place as usual. Well, you see the defensive job they did on the Colonel running game.
Yeah, that's just unbelievable what their line does to stop opposing teams, and Mitchell makes their money on the running game, and it was, no running zone tonight. And unofficially, Pierre's now set the record for most points in a season.
678 points they've scored this year in 11 games, right?
It's a lot. That's a lot.
60 a game. All right, Governors have been blasting people all year. Let's see who they will play. It was a Huron at Brookings in the other semifinal in 11 AA. Huron 6-4 coming into this game. Brookings 9-1 on the year. Their only loss was to Pierre during the regular season. Tanner Shepardson on a 4th and 2 for the Bobcats. And he is in to get the scoring started. 7-0 Brookings in the lead. They get it right back. They go to Parker Reichheis this time. Little short touchdown run. 13-0. Cats in front and piling it on still in the first half. Shepardson again. He had 3 touchdowns on the night. This made it 20-0. 20-7 at halftime. Cooper Freiberger had a touchdown grab for the Tigers to make it 20-7 at halftime. but pouring it on. Carter Idom had a touchdown, and then Shepherdson again after an interception by Brady Amon for Brookings. They got everybody involved. 36-7 is the final for the Cats, and they are 10-1 on the year.
I got to give a lot of credit. You see some of the moves that Shepherdson made. Those are great, but it's that offensive line that has absolutely dominated this year for the Brookings Bobcats, and they did that once again. They took it to Huron up front and stopped them all night long, and after the game, Lee Schmidt talked to us.
Our kids were kind of hyped. I mean, they were excited. It was sloppy the first half. It got better the second half. We did a lot of good things, and proud of these kids and proud of what they accomplished this year, and proud to get to the championship.
All right, they get to the final. They'll play there in Brookings against Pierre.
And I always read the write-ups, and every time they talk to Lee Schmidt, it's always, we didn't come out strong, but we got better in the second half and took care of business. Against Pierre, they're going to have to come out strong. So you guys get ready in the first half, Brookings. You can get this done.
Lee keeps it real. So Pierre and Brookings in the 11AA championship coming up on Friday night as well. That game will be at noon, actually, coming up on Friday in Brookings. Let's get to 11A, Jandy, and West Central and Lennox tonight. Take over the highlights here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's Cooper Marr's show. He has been on fire the last couple of weeks. He scored the first touchdown of the game to go up 6-0. And then Ben Czar recovers a fumble, and look at this. He takes it all the way back for a touchdown, and we're tied at 6. And it stayed 6-6 much of this game, Tom. But you know that Josh Arnold is going to find this guy, Caleb Metcalf. He has been one of the best connections in all of 11A this year. That was the first of 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. And you see Arnold on the move this time, finding Metcalf. He hits him perfectly, and they're up 26-6. So this game's over, right, Tom?
Should have been.
26-6. But Justin Zerpel says, no, this game is not over. He has come in and been their red zone quarterback the last couple of weeks, and he showed that he can rumble over people. Hayden Mendel, huge rushing day for him, a touchdown, and they keep pushing the lead, 34-14. They're up by 20 points with 9:44 left. This sounds a lot like the last couple of weeks.
Can I give away the ending?
No, they've got this in the bag, no worries. Then Caden Menace gets a touchdown, and let's see. I think I'm off here by one, but there's the interception that I've been waiting for, the huge interception by number 99. I believe that's Zacharias who comes and gets the big touchdown. Uh-oh. I think the ending is spoiled a little bit here. West Central has got another gear, and Justin Zerpel comes back with another touchdown. That makes it 34-27. Things are getting crazy. Speaking of crazy, Derek Eidsness, how did he come down with that pass? And West Central is striking in the last moments of the game to try to tie this thing up. They do. They find Derek Eidsness once again. He finds his way to the end zone. 31 seconds left. All they have to do is hit the extra point to take this thing into no overtime, guys. Lennox holds on. This has been the heartbreak story of the Lennox Orioles over the last month.
Wow.
So what an effort by West Central. That record is so deceiving at 4-7.
Yeah,
this is a good West Central team.
West Central beat number 1 top seed Del Rapids last week, 16-13, and it was 34-14 in this game. West Central comes all the way back. How about Lennox, by the way? They beat Madison 35-33 last week.
Yeah, and they came back. It was similar, where they had the big lead, and they let them come back. Well, I'm exhausted. Let's hear from the Lennox Orioles after this one.
It feels awesome. I'm ecstatic for the kids and the community. Good grief, West Central's a tough team, and they kept battling back. And you whatever you want to say at the end of the game, but I'm really happy for our communities and our kids. It's been a long time, and maybe numbers are not quite exact. They beat us in the semis in 2015, beat us in the quarters in 2014, and it just seems like they kind of had our number. And tonight we were able to come out and execute, and we got the win.
I'm excited. This is a big opportunity for our whole team to show the city of Lennox what we're all about. It's about time that we showed them what's up. We showed up this game. We let them come back. We shouldn't have, and we realized that this is our game, and we want that chip. We're coming for it.
They're coming for it.
All right, Lenny. And as they talked about, these teams in this class beat up on each other so much in the playoffs and the postseason and over year after year. But Lennox, 1982, right? They won the state championship in 1982, the second year of the playoffs.
Time.
That's the last time Lennox played in the championship.
It's been a long time, and we forgot about both of these teams throughout the season. We kind of just dismissed them, and they both made it all the way to the semis. West Central did not have quit in their vocabulary in this game, and they won on a kick a couple weeks ago and didn't make this kick to send it to overtime. So Lennox survive and advance.
All right,
congratulations. See you at the championship game.
They are in, and they would take on the winner of Canton and T-Area, Jandy, and you were at this ball game tonight. And
yeah, there's Mr. Caden Verley sighting, and that was a very important part of this game. He actually played quarterback a little bit, and look at this. Look at this interception. You can barely see, never touches the ground, and that thing is picked off.
Connor Mulder with the interception, and they would get a field goal, tee up 3-0. T beat Canton, by the way, in the regular season matchup, 21-14. That was the first game of the year. And then Canton in the second quarter here. Seth Peterson to Caden Verley.
And right before that, there was another touchdown that got called back on holding. They had a 3rd and long right there and converted for the touchdown.
So Canton in the lead, 7-3. Third quarter here, Austin Lake to Garrett Colbeck, and that puts T-Area back in the lead, 10-7.
Yeah, so T had the lead most of this game. And right there, they looked like they were in charge. A nice drive there, but there's always big playability when you have Caden Verley on the field. And I love the way he flies down and he checks over his shoulder here. Oh, yep, one more gear. I'm in. Guy is such a stud.
I think that's taunting, but we're going to let it go.
He was checking where the defender was.
14-10, Canton back in the lead. And then fourth quarter here, Verley.
This is where the momentum
looks like
swung.
the same thing.
Same thing, right side, nobody there. He takes it to the house, and that's where they really felt like they could salt this game away. They were actually trying to waste some time right there, and he hit the big one, and then a pick six right at the end of the game as time ran out. So he scored via the receiving, rushing, and return, all 4 touchdowns in this game.
All right, 27-10 is the final there. So T-Area, the defending champions, finish up at 8-3. Canton was in 11B last year.
Right.
And they lost in the semifinals to Sioux Falls Christian, but they are in the 11A championship game this year.
Yeah, and after the game, Rich Lundstrom and Caden Verley told us what it felt like.
Yeah, I'm just super proud of these guys. Losing the first 2 games kind of, they could have dampened their spirits, I guess, but they never once doubted themselves and worked hard the whole season, and I just can't be any more proud of them.
We were running the ball great up the right side. Then we ran a counter off of it, and there was no one there. No one there. The line did their job.
The line did their job. The linebackers did their job. They held T in check all game long, except for that one drive coming out of the halftime. They looked really good. This Canton team looks really good.
Yeah, be fun to see some more Verley in the state championship game coming up next week. All right, let's get to 11B, Jason. We got McCook Central Montrose taking on Bridgewater-Emery Ethan. Bridgewater-Emery Ethan and Coach Van Leeuwen 10-0 coming into this game. They've had 2 shutouts so far in the playoffs, and they would get another one in this game. Brady Hawkins a pitch to Jonah Hofer.
Yeah, Jonah Hofer. This guy has had a tremendous season. The blockers do their job. They've got a lot of guys that can run the ball here.
Kobe Kaiser on a touchdown run there. Made it 14-0, and then a punt return. As you see, the McCook Central Montrose punter from his own goal line, and this is Hofer reversing it and taking it down the left side and going in. 21-0 Bridgewater-Emery Ethan.
Hofer had a huge night. You saw the return. You saw him running. Brady Hawkins ran the ball for over 160 yards, and they had to contain Reagan Randall. This is a guy who's thrown some really good passes this year. He showed it off right toward the end here.
Randall to Jake Cheeseman. They did not get in there yet, tripped up though, and there would be no touchdowns tonight from McCook Central Montrose. Hawkins to Chase Arend.
Oh, beautiful move.
So was that. And Bridgewater-Emery Ethan is undefeated 11-0, 42-0 tonight. Just the second loss. McCook Central Montrose finishes with 2 losses on the year.
Every week we, I don't know, undersell Bridgewater-Emery Ethan a little bit. We don't talk enough about them, and then they go out and do something like this. Great evening of football for Bridgewater-Emery Ethan, and let's see who they would get in their final.
Webster and Winter off of the live stream here, and Winter got out to the early lead in this one. Sam Kruger, touchdown run. Trevor Peters will score as well.
Hurt part of this year. It's nice to have him back with Trevor Peters and, of course, Brady Fritz running the show. A lot of great weapons here.
Peters again here. Winter got out to the lead. Webster made a game of it. 27, is the final, but Winter again moving on into the 11B championship.
Yeah, undefeated, took out a really tough Webster area team, senior heavy team. We're going to see a battle of undefeateds with Winter and Bridgewater-Emery Ethan.
9-man semis this evening. Let's get some Viborg-Hurley taking on Lemmon McIntosh.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, Cody Thompson is the real deal. This guy put Viborg-Hurley on their heels. A long one to Alex O'Donnell, a 58-yard pass. And they got a 6-0 lead going into Viborg, but then it was Angel Johnson, gets an 8-yard run. The 2-point conversion is good, and Viborg-Hurley in control here at 8-6. But I'll tell you what, look at this kid. This guy's a junior, by the way. Over 60 touchdowns in his career so far. The one-handed grab. What a catch. And now the Cowboys up 14-8, putting a little scare into the #1 team in 9AA, but Chase Mason comes back in one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in 9-man football. 20-yard run, and they take the 16-14 lead at that point. But I'll tell you what, the Cowboys wouldn't go away. They found a way back into this thing and took the lead with an interception. Huge play in the second half to step up. Cody Thompson would run it in from there for the touchdown, and they would be up 20-16, but too much at the end here. What an effort to get in the end zone, and the Cowboys really gave them a scare, but it was Viborg-Hurley who hung on at the end, ran the clock out, got too much Chase Mason right at the end of the game. Cole Overgaard also scored one there too. Here's Coach at the end of the game.
I tell you what, they are amazing kids. Our boys, they work so hard, and we worked them so hard this summer. And and I swear, they don't tire, you know. They might get a little banged up, but they don't tire. They just keep going, you know, and they got hearts of gold, and they're a team. You know, a lot of people talk about that, but the best thing about this group of guys is they love each other. They pick each other up when one of them's down, and, you know, that's what it takes to win, and that's what they have, and that's what's so special about it.
There's Rob Kessler, pretty proud of his guys.
Viborg-Hurley 11-1. They did not make the playoffs last year, I don't believe. You can check me on that, right?
No, they did not.
Viborg-Hurley, though, undefeated going into the 9AA championship game. And Bon Homme and Deuel playing for the other spot there.
Here's a guy back from injury. They've missed this presence of one of the fastest guys in the state, Noah Heesh.
He would get in a couple of times. Deuel comes back, though, here. Deuel 9-1 coming into this game. So was Bon Homme. But Carter Hoffman on a run here for the Cardinals, and they yank him down. That is a horse collar. That is a penalty, and it sets up a Nick Caston touchdown run for Deuel.
They've got that lightning thunder combination. Caston just mows people over. Hoffman runs around him. It's been a fun combination for Deuel this year.
So close early, but then Bon Homme takes over. Boots.
Look at that. He just runs right over the defense like nothing was there.
Josh Crownover, touchdown. Then a pitch again to your man Heesh. He goes in, and Bon Homme up 13-6 at halftime, and they go on to win it 26-6 is the final there.
Yeah, that was big to have Heesh back. 3 touchdowns on the night. Bon Homme looks like they've got it together after a little slip up late in the season. They've really been pouring it on.
All right, Bon Homme and Viborg-Hurley in the 9AA championship. In 9A, Jason Gregory at Britton-Hecla tonight. A lot of defense in this game. Second quarter here, that is Jackson Eklund for Gregory.
Wow. That's a tough defense to get through. Eklund is really showing some poise there. I wanted to mention also in this game, Stanley Haskins Jr. star running back for Britton-Hecla, spent some time out of the game trying to loosen up a muscle, but Gregory took advantage of that.
All right, Eklund with the touchdown there. Gregory did have the lead. Right before the half, though, Britton comes back. Mason Jones, rumbling, stumbling, falls down to 12, but that led to his own touchdown run. Tied 8-8 at halftime. And then in the fourth quarter, Aiden Fredrickson with the game winner for Britton-Hecla in a tight one against Gregory. There we go, is the Fredrickson touchdown right here after the fake. Only scoring of the second half, and Britton-Hecla rolling to a 14-8 win in the semis as they stay unbeaten.
Wow, that was a gutty performance by the Braves to get through and win that game, like I said, without their star, Stanley Haskins.
And Britton-Hecla will take on Canistota Freeman. Canistota Freeman on the road against Sully Buttes tonight, 56-22 the final there, so the Pride in the 9A championship.
Chargers tried to catch up late, but there was just too much Canistota Freeman. Bailey Sage back for them. Tice Ortman had a huge night, and the Pride roll.
All right, finally, in 9B, Jason, Wolsey-Wessington at Colman-Egan. Colman-Egan 10-0 on the season. They've been just blasting people in the playoffs. 8 shutouts as well. Skylar Zomer, though, for Wolsey-Wessington with an 8-yard run there. Ties it up 8-8 early. But Nate Tolley for Colman-Egan.
Such a good athlete. He ran it up the field, up the sideline. They haven't been able to show off a lot. They've had a lot of games that they've won via the mercy rule, but they played well all the way through this one.
Tolley to Ryan Volker. Great throw, great catch. So after it was tied 8-8, Colman-Egan gets out to a 32-8 lead at halftime. Wolsey-Wessington staying in it, though. The lefty Zomer to Ethan Nelson inside the 5. That leads to a Zomer touchdown.
What a career for Skylar Zomer. Kept him in this game.
Yeah, this run, though, by Tolley. Carrying a handful of tacklers in. 46-36. Colman-Egan is into the championship game as they get to 11-0 on the season. And Colman-Egan will take on... Well, let's hear from the Hawks after this game first.
What won us the game is we overcame adversity tonight and we were able to put them away. Very proud of my team. It's huge for us seniors. We've been working so hard all high school career, and this is the game. We were supposed to be here and we're ready for it.
We just worked hard. We're fortunate to get a win tonight. They played, Wolsey-Wessington fought us hard, played very well, and we're just happy to get out of here with a win and get on to the state championship.
Big win. Colman-Egan has been so good, so dominant all season long, but they toughed it out against a really tough Wolsey-Wessington team.
Meant to be there. All right, their opponent will be either Harding County or Herreid Selby. Christian Begeman, our guy.
Footage from Buffalo, it exists. Camden Het gets it started with a nice toss to Sam Adams down to the 1-yard line, where I believe he finished off the first. That was the first touchdown of the game.
Yep, Ranchers get into the lead. Clayton Randall the second, though, here for the Wolverines. And Herreid Selby in front, 8-6 still in the first quarter. Hetz, though.
He's been such a running threat. This guy, they actually pass for more yards than they run for, but Het, he can do both of them. Camden's had a great senior season.
Ranchers back in front, 12-8. And there would be plenty of scoring in this game. Het picked off by Brendan Begeman.
How about that? Another Begeman.
Sets up a Wolverine score a couple plays after that. So Herreid Selby back in front, 16-12. Ranchers come right back. Het on the next series. And they go back and forth with Harding County back in the lead, 20-16.
Herreid Selby made their comeback, though. Despite this interception you see here, they started to make a real comeback in the second half.
Yeah, Zach Anders with the interception there for Harding County. Ranchers score right away after that interception. Het to Adams again, and they would take a 10-point lead. Harding County up by 10 at halftime. But as you said, the Wolverines on the comeback here. Second half belongs to Herreid Selby. Begeman on a 55-yard run here.
It's a power running team that took it to Harding County, and Harding County hasn't played a lot of games in the second half. I think they wore out a little bit.